Well, hi, everybody. How are you guys doing today? Marla and Carla here. Hi, Marla. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thanks for joining me again. Today, we're going to be coming to you with some more information about StreamYard. And we are going to teach you now how to use the E-Pub to be able to do an online presentation through a platform like StreamYard, which we're using here today, or very similarly to Zoom. So you should really able to translate this information we're sharing with you today into a Zoom platform if that's what you're using. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and Marla's going to take over and give us a tour on how to do this.
Okay, so we're going to double dip into StreamYard today. We're on Carla's StreamYard, and we're going to pull up my StreamYard, where I'm going to share the screen and bring you into my StreamYard account. Let's see if I got us there.
There we go. Perfect.
Okay. So this is called double dipping, everyone. But we're going to be really quick with this. What I'm going to do as I share here is I'm just going to share the. I just got myself lost, Carla.
Yeah, just click
Okay, wait a minute. I know where I am now.
There you go.
Do you see? Right. So now I am going to, on my system, share one more time the E-Pub. And I believe you can all see this. I hope you can.
Yeah, we can see that. Now, do we want to start by at the bottom there, those little squares with your pictures and stuff? That is something you would set beforehand, right? To select how you want your view to be. You can see right now that Marla and I are on the side in a small picture, and her screen is over here.
And if I had a guest, I would hit the one with two.
Or you can pick full screen so that you're not being shown. It's just the E-Pub that would come up that you could do.
Correct. Right. Which is what I will do as soon as I pull up the E-Pub.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And just while we're at it, at the bottom here, prior to the meeting, if you wanted someone on the call like Carla has me, you would invite, and this gives them the link, but also it gives them the instructions. So one thing to know is you cannot StreamYard from an iPad. It's only a Chrome-based system. Your guests can be on their iPhone, but they need to cross-check the instructions that you will send them as to how to do that. So that's right. If you're having a guest and you're not showing the E-Pub.
So you have the option to do this on your own, or like Marla and I are doing today. Say if you wanted your upline to be on, or you want to do this for somebody in your downline, you can do this exact same activity that we're doing, and one of you would stream and the other one would share their screen and host the E-Pub. So
right. So it's a lot of good stuff. So you get this little tab at the bottom that says stop sharing. So what I was going to do now is I'm going to go in to share my screen, because this is Carla's share. And up here you can see my entire screen. So if I was already on the screen I wanted, I could choose that. Or there's the application window, and I can run around here and try to select the pictures that I want to choose. But I usually, if I have everything open that I want, I go to Chrome tab. And there it is, the Vox Life Working on Wellness E-Pub is already open. So then I can share it. And I'm sharing it to the full screen, and then we can walk through it and do it.
That's what the people would see, is that full screen. And just to back up a little bit about those tabs you were talking about, Marla, yes. That's a great recommendation. You know, go in and have everything that you are going to want to show open and ready to go. So then when you click on the tab, just as Marla had, everything is already there for you.
Right, because it is a lot of fumbling around if you don't have that done. And sometimes it may even feel like you're fumbling around while you're doing this, but just breathe, stay calm. It all works out.
Yeah, great point. And we're going to talk later too about a few ways that you can play around with this without being live, so you can get comfortable as well.
Right. And I have to tell you that most of you, when you start using this, your audiences are going to be very impressed by anything you do because none of them have done this. So if you're thinking, oh, I can't do that, I want you to say start now because you will be an expert long before they will be.
That's right.
So this is a don't wait process. Take it on. It's one of the more fun programs I think out there for us to use and to do online communication. So what I happen to have too, and I'll just say this, I have dual screens. So what's easy for me right now to be able to do this program is I actually have the Working on Wellness EPUB over to my right. And I'm able to, instead of working from a small screen and flipping, I can turn pages on my big monitor. I don't have to spend time looking at that big monitor because I put my mouse right in place. I can click on the slide arrow to go to the next page, and I can still keep my eye contact with the camera. So the challenge is to just not fidget with your mouse.
Yeah, exactly. Don't panic and don't fidget too much with your mouth. Now, just keep in mind too, although we're seeing Marla's screen and we're seeing that EPUB in a small version right now, when your guests are looking at this, their entire screen is going to have the visual of the EPUB.
Correct, correct. And so then, and in this EPUB, just remember when you're working with stuff, a little tidbit I like to have is even though there's a lot of words on the script on the screens, you don't always have to read those, summarize them, because they're reading the whole time. So it can be a conflict if they read faster than you speak. So just to find out your simple summaries, and then they'll capture the rest of that while you're on that screen.
Right. And it was also designed to just to be a guideline. If you're nervous and you don't know what to say, and you're exactly right, just make it your own and have your own flow with it for sure.
Right. And then so we're not really coaching the program here, but so then we have videos that are embedded in this. Now I'm going to turn on this video so that you can all hear it. Your volumes may be different. So you may want to coach your people in the beginning if they're just listening. Maybe they don't want a headset on and they want their volume all the way to the top. It might be a coaching you give at the beginning. Because what I'm personally finding is per system, per person, the volume is different. Now, as a presenter, what I'm going to do right now, because for some reason, one thing on my system, I don't know if this is universal, that if I don't unplug my headset, the volume doesn't carry forth to you very much, the listener.
That's a really good point.
And I have not figured out the why of that, so that's like a technical question. But I do know that I've done StreamYards where I thought I was playing the video, and people have messaged me that, hey, I can't hear anything. So as soon as I unplugged my headset, they could hear. I don't get it. It's one of those technical things I'll have to follow through on and learn more about.
So now this video is embedded right into the EPUB that she's going to show you. So
I'm going to unclick my microphone so I won't hear Carla. And
you're about to see specifically my limbic system only.
So this is a good example of a time when you can also practice with somebody else and do this. And Marla and I did this beforehand too. I'm not sure she has her headset in her ears, but I'm not sure that it's plugged into her system. So,
well, I can hear you. I just always have to turn the volume down before
we started off by hearing what Dr. Mark was saying, and then the sound went away. So I just was mentioning to them that, you know, this may be something they want to play around with. And in the end, you know, don't panic. If you have to go back and play it again, try it again, just know that, you know, best laid plans, right? Things happen.
Right. Now, I just kicked us out. So let me go back and correct my mistake here. I kicked us out all the way.
And that's why it's so great to go in and practice too. And that's what's such a nice feature, especially about StreamYard. It may be as well in Zoom that you can come in and you can play around with this in your broadcast room. And I think we stopped sharing. So
I'm sharing. Yes. So what occurred, just so everybody knows, at the top of the window it said stop share. Well, what that did was it made me stop sharing the whole thing. So to get out of the video, I did not get out of the video correctly. So that's another reason you want to practice.
and also know that that's a little bit of I'd say a more advanced stage because we're double sharing, right? Whereas if you were the only one broadcasting and you were just doing your share, there wouldn't be multiple sharing buttons on there.
All right.
But it's okay. It teaches you just to kind of handle a situation, I find, and stay calm and like just do your thing. And people are very understanding. As Marla was saying before, most people are just going to be impressed by the fact that you're doing this in the first place. So just give yourself that level of comfort.
All right, so I'm running into a challenge here. I don't have my arrows to move the screens. So I'm going to come out again here just a minute and see what's going on. Huh. All right, it just lost all of its forward movement arrows. So let me see if I can pick it up again. Go to Chrome tab. And
I don't have you sharing your screen yet, Marla, so. So you'll have to go to mine and push the share screen at the bottom, I guess.
Oh, I see what you're saying. All right, thank you. Lost the mystery, huh?
Well, that's the fun of it. This is how you learn, by having little things like this come up. There we go. And we're back. Perfect. That's even better, actually, because we can see the whole version now, whereas before we could just see your tiny window. So this is perfect.
Well, don't know how I got here.
Yeah.
And here's my challenge. The screens aren't.
Oh, the screens are no longer there?
Screens are no longer moving.
Oh, there we go.
Here we go. Now, so just so you all know, my solution is, and don't ask me how I created the problem because I don't even know, but I'm actually having to use the forward and back arrows up on the top of the URL. So I'm not in the PowerPoint right now. So not too sure how I got here, but there's always a way. I will say that.
Well, what I usually do too is after a presentation, get through it, try not to get too muddled about it. And I go back and I look at it afterwards and then just figure myself out. So then the next time I go, I have a better handle on what's happening.
Right. I know. I think I know what's happening, but we'll stick with this. So no, we won't stick with that because it's not going where we want it to go. Okay, so I'm sharing actually on your screen. We're not sharing on my screen.
Okay.
So I'm sharing. Stop screen share. Let me get into here. And let me get into here.
And like they say, it's all figure outable, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Well, and now I will come in here, and this double sharing is quite the adventure.
Yeah, you kind of have to change your thought pattern because you got to share with me first and then do your sharing. So you're sharing your screen, right?
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I've gotten muddled. Pardon me. This
no
is
problem. Okay, you're back.
Yeah, I think I'm more in you, but hey. And here's the problem. For some reason, it has stopped the E-Pub. So I've created another problem that we never experienced, you and I, with all our friendly play. So let me try one more time here.
So I'll just talk a little bit too. If you were just on your own in this broadcast room, you'd go down to the share screen button. I know you guys can't see that right now. You'd go to the share screen button, and then you're able to go to that screen Marla showed before with the 3 options on where you can select your documents from. You would select your document from there, and then you would proceed through the online presentation.
So what I did to get us back to where we need to go. All right, let me go to mine and pull this up.
So I think we need to go share screen on mine, and then we need to get you into your StreamYard account.
I think I've got it here handled. Okay, now I'll come back to you.
Okay. And
all right, back.
Yeah, and you're back. And that's through your StreamYard account?
So this is through my StreamYard account. What I had to do is to go back up and open the original E-Pub. For some reason, the computer held a memory of the old screens that it had already shown, but I was really not in the document. Now, how did that create its problem? Not sure, but it happened. And so the solution was to just go back to the original URL, pull it up again, and then I'll just have to apologize as I scroll through again to do this. So everybody wants to practice how to get out of that video because I obviously exited the video inappropriately. But I'm not going to try to resolve what my mistake was now because we know we did it right the other day. But that's your homework assignment, everybody.
Right. I think the biggest thing is to be mindful of the tabs that you have open at the top, and that when you are going back, you're going back to click on those rather than Xing anything out. So if you open this up again, it would open another tab for you. Then you just have to make sure to come to the E-Pub tab again to get back into it, correct?
Yes, but here was the problem. See this little link right here? Can everybody see this? It says StreamYard is sharing your screen. Stop sharing. That showed up here on this part. Don't do that. Just close out of the video. This is not going to close you out of the video.
Right. Don't hit the stop sharing until everything is done.
Right. So that was why I exited incorrectly.
Okay.
So great. We got a mistake. We had a learning lesson. We're onward.
Absolutely. So we've got 2 videos embedded into this online presentation. The first one was Dr. Mark talking about the limbic system, and the second one here is the balance demonstration.
And right, so we'll just play that.
So the reason that we did embed these videos into this presentation is because we wanted you to be able to have access to them. And not have to fiddle around too much.
So now I can X out of the video, which is what I did not do with Dr. DeBrincat, and we will still be in the E-Pub.
Perfect.
Yeah. And so let me turn my volume down again because
I'm yelling in your ear.
I don't want to have hearing aids. I don't need them. And then you just can go through to your finish and do this. And then some people, Carla suggested that maybe you have your shopping cart open. So after you go through your product processes, you would need another tab. But you're here, you talk about the advantages of Vox Live. And you talk about the advantages of the cognitive boost technology and what it does for you. And then the Neurovax. And this could be a great time right here to go ahead and go over to your shopping page if you wanted to show people that. So let's play with
and it really depends on the amount of time you have and the kind of presentation you're doing. You can see there's a lot of flexibility within this E-Pub. You can either just do a quick presentation, just showing exactly everything that's in the E-Pub, or you can expand on that and turn it into a sock and soul party or a home event or whatever you would like to call it, just depending on what you'd like to do. So
right. Now you can't double share. So I'm going to stop sharing the E-Pub. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to share I'm going to go back in, go to my Chrome tab, and then down here I have my shopping cart open, my HPT.
Okay, we can't see all of that right now, Marla, because you stopped sharing on my screen. So
Oh, well, how did I do that? Jeez, I love it. Okay, am I
and
sharing on your screen now?
are you able to rather than stop shares, if you already had your shopping cart open and it was one of the tabs where we saw visible at the top, you could just click to that next tab and it would shift your view to that one there for you. So see up at the top here where you've got your Facebook and whatnot. If you just click on the one, the E-Pub one now, don't stop sharing, just click on the E-Pub. It's going to take you back to that screen. So
Got
then
it.
we don't have to do a stop share.
I just made it hard, so y'all saw mistake number 2.
No problem.
So
No
now you've
mistakes.
got good training.
Learning opportunity. That was me yesterday in my Canva with my sister. She's always giving me shortcuts on how I could do things a little bit better. So it's great. This is how we learn, right?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, this is one of those co-teaching learning moments. So we're all good for that. So yeah, so you can go through your socks and you could maybe pull up a couple of things. You know, one of the things, if you have people that were messaging you and they were interested in the CBT technology, you can go out and you can show them where it is, like, or box therapy, the knee brace, show them that when they select the product, that the measurement tools are there. I can't believe how many of my people keep saying, well, what are the measurements for the knee? And I say, they're in the shopping cart. And so you need to take your customer to the shopping cart, walk through this measurement process with them. The same for the cognitive boost
Sleep.
technology, the sleep.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're not very confident or you're new or you're not familiar with the nuances of the product, you can also come here and use the description. And that's a great way for you just to kind of read a little bit more about the details of that product. If somebody's asking you, well, what is that thing made of? Well, then you can get the breakdown of the materials in there as well. So
right. And you know, a lot of people ask questions, and if I don't, yeah, you can see my little arrow going. Some of them ask, well, where's the technology? Well, the technology, if you haven't seen one of these, is right behind and above the crease of the knee, and it's right behind and below the crease of a knee. So it's kind of an interesting technology. So always remember, people get visuals very, very easily. And even if they're an auditory learner, when you're pointing some things out for a kinesthetic learner, that's somebody who's just moving all over the place all the time, or somebody who's just really can't imagine it without seeing it, you've hit at least 2/3 of your audience by pulling up a visual and using it.
right. You can also use your samples at home too. So if you have your socks or you actually have a knee brace, you can open it up, turn it inside out, the Harmony patch, show them the patches, and you can take that into a more interactive sort of online presentation or like a little bit of an event or a party too. So you can, just like we've seen with Paul Austin's presentations and some other people doing online, I oftentimes will set up my banners in and behind me, and I'll have my leg display there too, depending on the presentation I'm doing, just to take it up a notch too. And I also like having the balance breakdown, the measurements, the range of motion, all of that, because again, that's another visual connection for people.
Yeah, great, thank you. And then the guarantee. I have to say, just from my personal experience, I always talk about the guarantee, but if you really listen to your clients and you set them up for trying it for 21 days and check in with them at least 3 times during that process, there is no buyer's remorse. What I love about Vox Life is that the buyer's remorse is just so low. And that's where people make buying decisions and then they regret it later. The only time I've ever personally had a return is they got the wrong size or they clicked the wrong color. And so we've done the exchanges. So I appreciate this program, but I also have to say that most everybody I know is finding great success with not having to use that too much.
Well, we're getting a few comments here. I just want to address a couple things. Joanne's asking, do you have a specific amount of time when you use this, like Zoom? Is there a cost? With StreamYard, they have limits on the amount of time, but it's not like a concentrated amount of time. It's you can do so many hours over the month, so to speak, rather than it being like Zoom where you have 35 minutes or so. And if you do upgrade to some of the upgraded packages, then you get more time with that as well.
But to add to what Joanne's saying, is one of the reasons to practice is consider your audience. Always consider how much time they would be. So you and I are already on almost at 26 minutes, Carla. And typically nowadays, people are doing so many visual things and so much. Try to work yourself into half an hour and to honor time. I know a lot of people like to talk. I'm one of them. But I try, like when I do a live, I try to not go over 15 minutes.
Right.
I usually average them about 12.
And it really depends, again, on what the situation is. If you're setting up an online clinic, it's actually an event, then people are expecting to be present for an hour, hour and a half, whatever you're going to do. If you're going to go into detail about the product, show some stuff. But yeah, if it's just going to be a short little presentation, then 15, 20 minutes is a great recommended time.
Right. Well, just for an education tip, Carla, when people are learning, you have to teach in chunks. And typically, if you're an educator designing training, you'll deliver in chunks of 15 minutes. And so when you do an intro and you do what we did here, this is actually a good 15-minute chunk. So if you've got your before and your after, you're at a 30-minute. You and I took longer, but if someone's really practicing, that's highly probable that that'll happen, that they'll do a little bit of an intro, maybe 20 minutes on this, but that leaves them 10 minutes for Q&A at the end.
Sure. Let's talk again about how they can go about practicing this without being live. A couple of ways. So you can go into your broadcast room, like we showed in the first video presentation, and create a broadcast that isn't going live yet. That'll allow you to play around in your broadcast room and to share the screen and get comfortable with moving around and figuring out where things are and how this plays along. The other way, like Marla had suggested in the other video too, and she showed us, is how you can do a recording of yourself. So you can record yourself doing your presentation and get comfortable with it that way if that helps you. Or you can have a friend, invite them to your broadcast and do that presentation with somebody else, a coworker, a friend, a family member, somebody who you feel comfortable with, and that will provide some constructive criticism for you.
Yeah.
Or feedback, I should say.
Well, yeah, either way, there's just some people who can't help themselves. Here's my suggestion. If you're asking a friend to help you, I would like you to build your confidence. So request that they tell you 3 things you did well and 1 thing that you could do better. Because I bet you already have a critic in the back of your head telling you 10 things you want to do better. So in order to calm your critic down, you ask for the 3 positives. And seriously, that's a challenge, but as friends and peers training one another, we always want to do that because that is actually the simplest way to build confidence in somebody. So build confidence in yourself, build confidence in other people, but always when you ask for feedback, say, could I have 3 pluses first? Because I got to tell you, I got a lot of people, and I'm one of them. We jump to the bottom line first, and wait a minute. We all have feelings, and we know they're not sensitive, but it is nice to get a couple of strokes first, and then you're more receptive to listening to the feedback.
Absolutely. That's some really great tips, Marla. You're so wise, and I've so enjoyed working with you. We have one more question here.
Yeah.
Do you have yourself showing live during the presentation or just your presentation showing? Before we got started, within StreamYard, there's a few boxes at the bottom. You can't see that right now, but if you go back in this video, or if you go to our first introduction video, where you can select the style that you want. So you can either have yourself and the presentation, or you can just have the presentation playing, just up to you. Just be mindful if you do have yourself and the presentation playing to remember that you are on camera that entire time, and just be mindful of what you're doing or where you're looking.
Right. Don't eat a sandwich, pick your nose, or not look at the camera. So if you don't want to show the whole screen, know that you need to be making eye contact the whole time.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, Marla. That was a lot of fun.
Thank
Well,
you.
I hope this is helpful for everybody out in the field. It lets you know that it's okay to make some mistakes and to figure things out. And once you get comfortable with it, then even still, everything doesn't go as planned. So be ready for that.
And if anybody has a question, they can messenger me.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. So thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you guys again soon.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.